I've got 49ers at Jaguars. Who knew this would be, such a big game here in Week 10? This is a fun one for many different reasons. I mean, one is you look at the 49ers offense against that Jaguars defense. Jaguars defense, maybe the unit that I was most wrong about. You were giving me flowers for my Browns defensive ranking on the show Monday, which of course I appreciate. But don't look at where I had the Jaguars in that ranking, Ben. I think I had them 27. They were bottom 5 for me because I looked at it. That defense stunk last year, and they didn't do anything in the offseason. They literally added nothing to the defensive side of that roster, and they kept the same defensive coordinator. So I was looking at it going, what is the path for this defense to be better this season? Well, one thing that I need to remind myself of every summer is that younger players can get better. And that's kind of what you're seeing with this Jaguars defense. The Jaguars are 3rd in defensive DVOA right now, which I think like you have to double check it 10 times to be like, wait a minute, is that true? Josh Allen has 9 sacks in 8 games. Tyson Campbell had a good season last year. He's still a high quality corner. They have Andre Sisco. So it's like this blend of those younger players, and then like the Foye Oluwakans are still out there for the Jaguars, and some of
Devin
these like
Lloyd,
veterans.
Man, is the name for me where like, I don't want to have to sign the Devin Lloyd apology form. I'm pretty vocally anti-Devin Lloyd. I'm getting close to having to sign the Devin Lloyd apology form. He's played better ball, especially in coverage, this season than he did in year 1. He's the guy who, like, Foye Oluokun picks up all the tackles. Lloyd is the guy who's more impactful linebacker for me there.
Yeah, so it's sort of a weird blend of players, but they're getting it done. Now, are they for real? I think this is a big test. I think that Niners offense, has obviously taken some heat. They've scored, I think, 17 points in each of the last 3 games. I still think they're really freaking good. I mean, you look at it, like they're 1st in DVOA. You look at this 49ers offense compared to previous versions, and this has been a theme for us all season. I mean, it's the best version of the 49ers offense we've seen. They've had a bunch of turnovers. They've had 7 turnovers during this 3-game losing streak. They're still moving the football. They're still a good offense. So that's interesting to me. And then the other side of the ball, Steve Wilks is taking some heat in San Francisco. He's doing this is one of my most fun things of the year. So like is the coordinators moving to the field, the Matt Canada move, baby. It worked for him. Everybody get your coordinators out of the booth.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. If your coordinator's in the booth, he's coaching scared. I don't trust it. I don't buy it. Get him on the field. There are obviously exceptions to every rule. Todd Monken's up in the booth calling great games for the Ravens. But in general, if your coordinator's up in the booth, red flag. Get that man on the field.
Fangio's in the booth, right? He's a booth guy, I believe.
He is now. Yeah, he is. Which, worst defense we've seen Fangio put out? No, not worst defense. They've been banged up. Get down on the sideline, man. Be with the players.
There's nothing I enjoy more than a frustrated coach in a booth, though. Like when they get that shot, it's the weird angle. I don't even know where the camera is, and the guy's going nuts in the booth. That is very fun to me. But Steve Wilks is moving from the booth to the field there. They're 15th in defensive DVOA. They're having issues stopping the run. They're having coverage busts, communication issues in the back end. That defense has not played well. I would say the Jaguars offense has underachieved, and I think you and I have been pretty consistent about this. Like, we just want to see more. I thought this was going to be a top 5 offense coming into the season. They've had a bunch of turnovers, 8 turnovers in opponents' territory for the Jaguars, tied for most in the NFL. But even without the turnovers, just on like a series to series basis, I feel like they've kind of lacked a consistency. Chase Young's debut. So I'm just spitting out like 50 different things. There are a lot of fun storylines in this game. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, so I have this game involved in a segment later in the show, so I won't take my whole hand here. But this is, there's no bigger heat check, litmus test, what are you really moment than this Niners offense against this Jaguars defense. Jaguars defense numbers-wise, great. Jaguars defense in terms of how I've always felt about the players and how I feel about the scheme, I have some doubts. I have some suspicion.
I agree. I'm not all there with them either. I'm with you.
Yeah, and especially with how you've seen teams be successful against Purdy and successful against the Niners in recent stretches where they've been able to dial it up on him a little bit more. Purdy's one of the most blitzed quarterbacks in the league. And this is a defense that likes to be able to blitz and send pressure. It's what Mike Caldwell is a Todd Bowles disciple. It's kind of, you formulate this defense on getting to 3rd and long and getting into pressure looks. All right, well, like, this guy's getting blitzed a lot and has been struggling against it in recent weeks. You've been good at blitzing. Like, this should be a good matchup for you. why do I feel the way that I do? Why do I feel like maybe it's not so much? Niners coming off of a bye as well is a big deal. And so Jaguars home game against like a true blue blood contender, like win this thing, you'll buy a lot of legitimacy in the eyes of Extra Point Taken. It's just you got to get the hay in the barn there a little bit. I'm not sure they will.
They would be 7-2 with a win. You're right in the mix for a 1 seed if you win this game. If you're Jacksonville, the Niners, I feel like the way the NFC is set up, they can kind of lose this game and still be okay in terms of like, I think they're going to make the playoffs regardless. But in terms of the NFC West, you obviously would lose a game to the Seattle Seahawks. All right, next up.